the Edge AI, some of the more interesting things might be the most mundane ones, right? Things that you don't think about, but it's already there. Things that it does things for you. Much like today, if you want to drive from point A to point B and you turn on your GPS and you get there because it's GPS navigated, right? It tells you your maps and things. It's so pervasive that it's so useful. You don't think about it anymore. Nobody goes to the paper maps, right? But you see my point that itself, once you get your AI and it comes pervasive, you don't ask about it. That's the most compelling ones for me. It's not the most glamorous kind of thing necessary, but the most mundane ones. And once you get through that and people don't ask that anymore, you made it.
Welcome back to Plus Partners, where we share the stories behind successes. I am Kevin Burke, founder of Burke Plus. We are a strategic partner focused on increasing brand awareness and revenue for companies. Our clients find that we introduce them to some great technology and some great strategies to help with those brand goals and those revenue goals. Drop a note in the comments if you want to hear more about that. But today we are talking to Sek Chai, founder and CTO of Latent AI. Welcome, Sek. Good to see you.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's good to talk to you again. I have a fun opening question for me anyways, because I really want to know, how do you guys start with some roots back on the west coast of California and end up headquartering in Princeton, New Jersey, of all places?
Yeah. So we always been kind of dual coasts, if you will, East and West Coast, right? And we spun out of SRI International and Stanford Research Institute. Headquarters is in the Bay Area. So, we have our roots there. But also there's a facility here in the Princeton side, Princeton, New Jersey, on the East Coast side. That's also part of SRI. So we've kind of have facilities on both ends. And we decided to kind of keep it both ends because, we go where the talent is in that sense. And there's capabilities and people, that have the skill set that we need, right, on both sides. So it's easy to kind of maintain kind of both ends, if you will.
And given the East Coast side, are you kind of mixing it up? We have a lot of folks that are coming in office every day, or is it a lot of remote work? Everybody sitting behind keyboards.
Yeah, it was interesting, right? For our company, we are 6 years in the making now. We've kind of gone through the COVID kind of cycle and then post that, right? Where it's, one way or the other, where during the COVID kind of period, there's a lot of then everything remote. We have since then pulled folks in, but it's still on a kind of very relaxed schedule. Folks can do that remote. People find usefulness in terms of having that remote access. We also find that people do get a lot of benefit from coming in. The interactions just move a little bit faster, and the discussions and things that you can do, right, when you can go to a whiteboard and just hammer it out, that becomes useful. So we do have a kind of relaxed schedule, but people mix in and out and have that flexibility post-COVID.
Yeah, I love that. And I do, being an old fart like me, I do know the value of, that human interaction can be super important, especially moving the needle forward a little bit.
We have a couple of new hires at that point, right? Right when we get into COVID, where these are folks that just came out of college, right? And it says, my first interaction is remote, it's all Zoom and what have you. And by the time we kind of relax the kind of remote and have people come in, they really enjoy having the, relationship and networking, right? Once you have it in person. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And you guys are still figuring it out. I mean, essentially you're still in startup mode, right? You kind of transitioned out of the SRI International into your own company and had some luck with the fundraising side too, right? So Series A at this point, is that right?
Yeah, a little bit past Series A, that's right. Yeah, and we had good engagement, good traction within the kind of federal business and things, but working our way towards commercial. But the kind of investor circuit, the place we're in, the topic area and the scope that we're covering seems to draw attention and implicit investors to come in.
Yeah. I think if I read correctly, that was probably back a few years ago now, that was your last raise. But how do you, what was that like for you and the team sort of navigating your way through that fundraising process and getting some great folks on board, like with the was it Blackhorn and Future Ventures, I think are some of the folks that are involved with you guys.
Yeah,
How was that for you?
Future Ventures came in as our seed. So Steve Jurison and his partner
Mhm.
at Future Ventures believed in us very early on, and he meaning Steve and Marianne from Future Ventures kind of looked for a little bit further out. So they saw us have kind of interest in us and invested very early on. So happy with that. Blackhorn came a little bit later in our second round, A round, and
Yep.
in the sustainability kind of business, right? Green technology and things. They also saw that element in us, so they invested. We also have folks in the automotive kind of side, auto tech ventures come in as well,
Mhm.
and lately AI capital, right? So my whole point here is that the space we're in, where we're looking into edge and edge AI, taking technology and AI models that have been building on the cloud. There's a lot of things that are now interested of making that model AI and what have you into kind of devices that are not cloud centric. A lot of them worry about running your LLM models on cloud because it's too power hungry, for example. It's not
Mhm.
really scalable, sustainable. And this is where we come in. So a lot of that intersection of capability and needs we're trying to meet.
Yeah, certainly. The rise of the data center is certainly a big topic right now in the commercial real estate space, anyways. But I think this is a way that you guys get to sort of sidestep a lot of that, right? Tell us a little
Right.
bit about where edge AI kind of fits into the AI landscape.
Yeah. So everything is, very, very much a lot of the AI that you see today that's running services, right, in terms of your chatbots and your mid journey, whatever, uh, video generation, all those kind of things from Gen AI is really cloud based, right?
Yep.
Even in the news today, everybody's saying, a lot of the, 90% of your energy or something like that needs to go to AI. And that's a lot. That's a lot of power,
Yeah.
right? Um, what we then say is, there's a lot of opportunities outside the cloud, right? Where you start to distribute the compute. And our notion of edge is really anything outside the cloud. So it can be anywhere what we call edge continuum, meaning anything outside could be the network infrastructure. There's compute actually to route your data packets here and there within the internet kind of ecosystem, right? There's actually compute in there. You can put models. And then you go all the way to the end. This is what we call sensor edge. This is where your data is actually captured. This is your cameras, your microphone, things like that. That itself also has compute, and you can put AI models in there. And you have to be properly sizing the right models at the right place. And what we do is then build tools to then right size that model to the right infrastructure and right capability as you need. It doesn't have to be all the way to the cloud. The idea is that if everybody's funneling their data to one central location, you quickly saturate your pipes, right? Your 5G network is never enough. Way back when we start 2G, 2.5G, 3, you never have enough data pipe to bring everything into one place. What's smarter then is to move your processing to where the compute needs to be, where the data is actually being collected, and just do the processing there so that it alleviates the kind of pipe needs, right? The bandwidth needs all the way back to a central location. That's to say that we're not saying cloud or nothing. It's really a mix of cloud and edge, but you really can push a lot of that compute to a distributed nature. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like I watched a great video on your site using a demo of like a shipping channel, but it seems like you are able to sort of um, enhance the power of existing models as well, right? Sort of pull a little patch in to make systems that maybe aren't functioning just the right way and really give them the extra juice that they need to function the right way.
Exactly. The point with edge, once you have model distributed, they're not all in one central location.
Right.
Then you also notice that the models that, in point A versus point B, two different locations, spatially different, they may also encounter things that are different. One might be more sunny, one's less, one more vegetation and one not. Then your model starts to break based on spatial location. And then you have this thinking about, well, how do I customize each of these models, patch it enough so that it works in that scenario? And then you can be pulling capability in different places, right?
Yeah, this is maybe more a personal question. I have done a bunch of work in for commercial real estate projects on the wayfinding and signage and graphic sort of component. And you're one of the specializations I think that you bring to the table is that sort of computer vision, computer learning kind of model, right? Do you see any applications of that for sort of assisted wayfinding for folks inside of places that are maybe more complicated to map than just outdoor locations? So like visual mapping, sort of some kind of an interface where folks are being able to use the technology to work their way through places.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. So in the I could start from the defense side, right? We work with the Department of Defense. A lot of that capability is requiring us to put AI models where you run without any connectivity, right? Simply there's no network to go with, there's no comms. So it has to run as is, and those kind of denied environments. In the commercial side, kind of similar things. Once you go indoors, you go into a place where you don't have GPS, where do you get your telemetry? How do you know from left to right? And there's a lot of computer vision models to do landmark matching to kind of know where you find. Think about a robot, right? Autonomous robot, let's say, uh, out in the open, it has GPS, it kind of knows where it goes. They say, "Oh, go indoors and help me do something." And once it goes indoors, you lose that connectivity. What happens?
Yeah.
You get stuck, right? And now you need to switch your mode into an AI model that then can work indoors, that doesn't rely on GPS or even connectivity, and is still able to function. So, from let's say a robotic application, very useful. Think also search and rescue. We look into that as well, right? Once you come to a disaster kind of zone, there is no telephone pole, there is no network connectivity, but you still need the capability there. And these are the types of scenarios where some of these AI models can be running there.
Yeah, and such a simpler um, way to adapt technology to solve that problem. I mean, we were looking originally. I built a product back in the day that was using BLE beacons um, to integrate it with the sign system to create that telemetry to figure out where you're located within a building and how to direct people to certain locations within the building, whether they're
Right.
visually impaired or whether they're just new visitors to the space. But this is a great sort of new evolution of I think that interior wayfinding that's possible and being
Yeah.
applied right now. Yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
good stuff.
I've talked to folks that are interested to put things in malls and things,
Yeah, yeah,
as well.
yep,
And think of it
yeah. For the
as
retail environment, right?
yeah, and if what we're seeing in the news, like humanoid robots and things like that, right, where there's a lot more pervasiveness in the kind of autonomous systems, autonomous robots, and what have you. Some of these capability needs to then come in place, right, for that to work.
Yeah, heading down that autonomous discussion line, it seems like generative AI agents are definitely on top of people's minds right now, and including yours. You just launched a product. Is it called Latent Agent? I think.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so we have always been thinking about that. We don't have all the expertise, we don't have all the data, but our customers do, right? And we want to enable them to kind of build the AI models, especially for the edge, right? Building models for the cloud is hard enough. Then you say, oh, build it for the edge. You have constraint of power and things like that. So we already built tools that allows you to then run and build capability for the edge. For the Latent Agent, what we've done is added in now a much simplified and usable kind of interface to the set tooling, where you can actually chat with an AI agent, and that agent then helps you along in terms of building things for the edge. So you might want to build a model, but don't know where to start. Now, which piece of hardware should I use? I have a certain idea about what I want to do. Guide me along. And because we have a lot of telemetry, a lot of information about how to build models for different type of hardware for the edge, we can kind of such as suggest, right? Oh, you're looking for this type of models, this type of hardware. We've already kind of know what the performance looks like, and then we can start to recommend. And what we then enable with the chatbot is really then that conversation that allows you to then interact with that tooling. No longer do you need a lot of expertise understanding hardware models and things. The agent itself kind of level set that for you. You think about it, right? Within the developer ecosystem, you have folks that are really machine learning folks. They really know all about it, but they may not know a little bit about hardware because then when you get to edge, you need that. On the flip side, you may have folks that are really hardware centric. They really know the hardware, but then maybe not the machine learning. So the agent kind of level sets everyone so that you can move things along by guiding you, by giving you information that you don't need to look up yourself. And then you can ask the agent to do things for you. Oh, help me train through this. Help me install this. All those kind of things are provided.
Yeah, I love that. It's a theme that we've seen a lot of, is right, that sort of human guidance of better AI solutions. You're kind of amplifying the interaction between the idea and the development cycle, and then which I guess would result in being able to bring more product to market, which is pretty awesome.
Right. And time to market, right? A lot of folks,
Yeah,
you
right.
go at it, and after how many years, they say, I'm still at it and haven't got the product out yet. You may not have the skill set, the people that you want. And what we're trying to do is amplify that so that with the resources you have, you get things out. You get things out faster. You talk about models not being running at different places. You can actually tune and push out the new model very quickly. It becomes then that iterative nature, that kind of flywheel that can be very fast.
Yeah, love it. So defense has already picked up on what you guys are doing for sure. You're looking at more commercial markets now. What areas are you seeing some interest? Where are you guys pointing at there?
Yeah, many different places. We talk to folks in the manufacturing side, right? Folks are worrying about product yields, manufacturing components. They're using computer vision to look at the products that built, defect analysis and things. A lot of factory settings, positioning, every square inch of the manufacturing line is becoming important, right? So you can't expect to put a whole big analysis camera, whatever sensor to do the thing. So it has to be tiny, small. A lot of the manufacturing side, you think, will be constrained by power because of how you have to install some of these sensors. Some of them are can't really get any networking out because of the equipment and things like that. So it almost then mirrors the things that we're doing in the defense side, right? So manufacturing would be one. But we're talking to a number of different folks that have similar needs. All right, we're just getting started. Maybe down in manufacturing, that's at least one engagement. In terms of the needs, right? That mirrors what we have been doing.
Outside of manufacturing, any other places? You said definitely your funding sources are coming from a couple of different sectors of the non-defense space. What else are you seeing out there?
Yeah, definitely on, like I said, robotics, right? And when I say robotics, I say autonomous system because it's very similar. So, everybody's taking robo-taxi today, right? All those vehicles need to have processing in the car, right? You can't expect to, aim the picture of the road and then expect some latency, then it drives your car. It has to be on the system. And, in an autonomous space, it is both in cabin and out, meaning you have to look outside. Then you want to look inside in the sense of, when you're not driving, what should you be doing? Maybe there's other things you can do in the car. You start to offer new services and things for in-cabin kind of things. So we see a lot of growth in that space as well.
Nice. What's this is all for folks that aren't following it. It's super new, but how new is it? Are you guys, so where do you really see the market is right now? Is it still really nascent?
Well, that's a good question. Everybody's at a stage where they understand what edge is, and edge AI. But it's still around, right? It's not picking up as much as the cloud. I think people are starting to feel the tension and the pain between cloud and edge. When it comes down to the bottom line, which is the wallet, how much does it cost to run things on the cloud? They start thinking, oh, maybe edge is the solution. And people are starting to convert now, thinking that is an offering, that is a capability. It's really that timing where you have quote unquote the killer app in the sense of, let's say robotics or humanoid robotics. You need to have that use case kind of drive a lot of these needs. But as we speak now, there's a lot of different ways in which that edge AI can manifest in different kind of applications.
How are you how are you getting that message out there to folks right now?
Both podcasts and things like that as well, right? Talking to folks and publishing. I think the way we want to say it is sometimes we talk about generative AI, everybody tend to gravitate to the very sexy kind of things, right? Oh, LLMs is creating this picture here and this art piece or some chatbots and things. With the edge AI, some of the more interesting things might be the most mundane ones, right? Things that you don't think about, but it's already there. Things that it does things for you. Much like today, if you want to drive from point A to point B and you turn on your GPS and you get there because it's GPS navigated, right? It tells you your maps and things. It's so pervasive that it's so useful. You don't think about it anymore. Nobody goes to the paper maps, right? But you see my point that itself, once you get your AI and it comes pervasive, you don't ask about it. That's the most compelling ones for me, right? It's not the most glamorous kind of thing necessary, but the most mundane ones. And once you get through that and people don't ask that anymore, you made it, right?
So you think that might be your biggest frustration is kind of articulating that the not so sexy pieces are maybe the pieces that
You're
you'll
going up
find the
against
most valuable.
the hype, right? The hype that
Yeah.
is there about yet another chat bot, that helps you this and that. But there's more interesting real world problems that we're trying to solve. And, part of opening up the aperture with tooling and such is to let the people build the things that they feel is necessary that needs to solve problems, right? That's out there.
What's the messaging look like, you think, I don't know, 6 months from now? Like, does it stay the same? I think it's progressing really fast. Like, what do you think?
I think so. I think people will start to gravitate once they understand that is indeed different, right? And it could come very, very simple kind of messaging and kind of thought provoking, for example. Everybody's thinking LLM. Okay, fine, we do that. But then if you point that and say, hey, everybody's actually carrying a very capable processor on your phone. Your phone does a lot of stuff, right? You don't really need to then dial up to the cloud to do anything because your phone, everybody really carries, if not one, many, can already do a lot of stuff. Guess what? It can do many things when you are indoors without connectivity, airplane mode. Think about it. Once they understand and appreciate that, it's just, they'll start to demand more of it. The other thing is once you put the models, all these things on your own devices and things, you start to having the opportunity to personalize it. It's not just an LLM for everyone, but it's for me, and it's tailored to my needs. And all the data that is used by the LLM is now retained. So that's a little bit of a privacy and security as well. I'm not sending all my conversations to out in nowhere, and just everybody's looking at it. It's really mine and mine alone. So you start to then change the way people think about some of these AI services.
How does latent AI fit into that picture in 6 months or a year? What do you see for the company
Yeah, I think
that far out?
it'll continue to grow. 6 months is not that far out in a
Yeah.
sense. For a startup, yeah, we will start to iterate more. Um, the the way I see it is think about the internet boom, right? .com boom way back when, right? It's all over the place, and you have all sorts of services. This is all unregulated, everywhere, everything, right? I would say the edge AI is very similar, in the sense of you have all sorts of hardware. There's no standards or whatever, but it'll get to a point where it's there. So you're really early on in terms of defining a lot of that and getting into a very more systematic way. And when I talk about things that are mundane, by the time you get there, things would have been kind of very platform oriented. People are building it. People don't really question about why you want to do edge or not. That's when we have succeeded.
Okay, I'm buying into this. Edge is the
And
thing.
It will get there. And I think it
Yeah.
is much like anything, right? Solve some real problems, show that it can be done, and
Yeah,
people
for
will
sure.
follow along. Yeah.
Yeah, if the messaging aligns, right? I mean, you're probably solving things that people don't understand that are being solved with, Edge AI right now. But they, as the messaging kind of combines, and they say, well, that's not being solved by the cloud anymore. We don't need the cloud for that kind of solution. I think
Right.
that'll definitely turn some heads. Um, all right, so you're funded. You've got some government contracts going. What do you think is next for you guys? Is it a growth picture? Are you looking to break into that commercial space and turn into more of a commercial focused company, or kind of balance the two? Like, what's the future of Latent AI looking like for you right now?
Yeah, certainly, right. We've done a lot of federal kind of work and a lot of inbounds in terms of commercial, but this year alone, we're doing a lot more outreach in the commercial side and then kind of grow from there. Definitely a lot of kind of interest and things will start to rise up in terms of our engagement on the commercial side. The Lane Agent is a way to get into that space. We'll start to grow and more features and capabilities on that platform.
Do you have any partnerships kind of running right now alongside of other folks?
Yeah, we do have a number from silicon vendors to the data providers, everything kind of built in terms of the ecosystem. One can run without the other. You can't train a model without data. You can't run the model without the hardware. So we do have partnerships in many different places. For example, we were kind of teaming up with Dell,
Mhm.
went to GTC and also Dell World with them, co-partner and kind of joint pitches on many different things. So our partnership and strategy there will continue to grow.
Cool. And how about for Sek? What's the future hold right there?
Yeah, no, I think the way I tell my co-founder, as long as we enjoy the ride, it's the journey that counts. As long as you're enjoying the work, it's not work, right? So we'll continue at it. So I'm having a lot of fun, growing a company, engaging with other people. So I'm happy, right? We'll continue at it.
Nice. I typically end by asking the sometimes dumbfounding question of any words of wisdom, parting wisdom for us.
Oh, this is a good question. I think that the way I add it is, um, try, right? You have to go and try and engage. I think never to be afraid to give it a try.
Love it. All right. Well, I've been giving this whole thing a try, and I've been meeting some really cool people. Sek, thank you so much for your time today. That was great.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, another episode of Plus Partners, and we're out.